The first clue was a wet footprint. It shouldn't have been there. I came home early, the air still heavy with the stale heat of noon. The tiles in the hallway were dry, except for one. A perfect imprint of a man's heel, faint but undeniable. Not mine. I froze, staring at it like it might disappear if I blinked. My wife's laughter drifted faintly from the back, from the pool. A sound too sweet, too light, like she was 16 again. Something twisted in my stomach. My pulse slowed instead of racing. That was always my way. The colder the truth, the calmer I became. I set my briefcase down without a sound, walked past the footprint, past the smell of chlorine drifting in from the backyard, past the flutter in my chest that whispered what I already knew. At the glass doors I stopped. Through the pane I saw him, a stranger, shirtless, golden-skinned, cutting through the water with a lazy backstroke. My pool, my house. My wife perched on the edge, legs dangling, smiling in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in years. She didn't notice me watching, neither did he. I should have stormed outside. I should have shouted, broken something, broken him. But I didn't. Instead, I stepped back into the shadows and shut the door without a sound. That was the first moment I understood. Rage is useless. Precision is everything. For 3 days I said nothing. I kissed her goodnight. I poured her coffee in the morning. I asked about her day, about work, about trivialities that meant less than air. She answered easily, smiling, smooth. But her eyes betrayed her. They darted too quickly. They lingered on me like she was testing whether I knew. I played my role to perfection. But inside, I cataloged every detail, every missing hour, every subtle shift in her tone. I began to notice small things I had ignored before. A second towel left damp by the pool. 2 glasses in the sink when I had only used one. The faint smell of cologne that wasn't mine on the cushions of the patio chairs. They thought they were clever. They thought daylight and silence protected them. But nothing protects you once suspicion takes root. It grows quietly, feeding on every inconsistency, until the truth becomes undeniable. My wife's body was here, her smile was here, but her loyalty, that was already gone. I didn't confront her, not yet. I wanted more than a confession. I wanted proof so sharp it would cut her to pieces. And so I waited, and I watched. My investigation began small. Her phone was always face down on the counter, always locked. But I didn't need the phone. Patterns are louder than messages. She suddenly went to the store more often, 40 minutes for a 10-minute errand, always with her hair brushed, lips touched with gloss. When I came home, the water in the pool was rippling, though no wind blew. I started checking the chemical levels. They were inconsistent. Someone was swimming almost daily when I wasn't there. Then one evening, she showered longer than usual. When she stepped out, humming to herself, steam billowing behind her, I slipped into the bathroom after she left. Her lingerie, black lace, was damp, hidden beneath a towel in the corner. She hadn't worn it for me in years. Each clue stacked like bricks in a wall around my chest. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was arrogance. They weren't hiding from me. They believed I was blind, too trusting, too busy, too weak. That was their mistake. I wasn't blind. I was patient. And patience is more dangerous than anger. The truth came quietly, like all devastating things. I hired a discreet investigator. Nothing flashy, nothing obvious, just a man with a camera, a long lens, and no conscience. 3 days later, he handed me an envelope, thick, heavy with printed photographs. I didn't open it immediately. I held it in my lap like a loaded weapon, feeling its weight, the power it contained. That night, at dinner, I placed the envelope on the table between us. Her fork paused midair. Her eyes flicked down, then up to mine. Her hand trembled slightly as she set the fork aside. "What's that?" she asked, her voice too casual. "Open it," I said. She did. Her face drained of color as the first photograph slid into view, her lover climbing out of my pool, droplets catching the sun. Another, her leaning in, lips brushing his shoulder. Another, their shadows intertwined in the bedroom window, framed against the curtain. She didn't speak. Her mouth opened, closed. A soundless gasp. I stayed silent, calm. Watching her crumble in real time was better than any explosion of rage. "Please, I can explain," she whispered. But she couldn't, not really, and she knew it. The next day, I left work early again. He was there, as I expected. Back in my pool, back in my water. I stood by the patio doors, arms crossed, until he finally noticed me. His strokes faltered. He froze mid-water like an animal sensing the hunter's eyes. I smiled, a cold, thin curve of lips. "You like my pool?" I asked through the glass, voice barely audible. He said nothing, just stared, chest rising and falling. I gestured to the filter system humming beside the deck. "I put something new in there today, stronger than chlorine. Burns the skin if you stay in too long." His eyes widened. He swam to the edge in a panic, scrambling out, coughing, dripping, grabbing for his clothes. Of course, I hadn't put anything in the water, not yet. Just the idea was enough. Fear is more corrosive than acid. My wife appeared at the doorway then, eyes wide, mouth trembling. She looked at me as if I were a stranger. Good. That's exactly what I wanted. I didn't scream, I didn't strike him, I didn't even raise my voice. I just watched him run half-dressed down the street, her name still trembling on his lips. Then I turned to her. "We're done," I said simply. No rage, no begging, no room for negotiation. Just a statement of fact. Her eyes filled with tears. She reached for me, but I stepped back. That space between us became final. That night I slept alone for the first time in years. And for the first time in years, I slept deeply. Betrayal had been burned out of me. I had seen the truth, and the truth had set me free. Final line: love dies quietly, but betrayal? Betrayal makes sure you never forget the sound of its drowning.